Welcome back to Allied Bullies TV, and today we got man's best K9 in the building. They
Uh-huh.
specialize in obedience training, personal protection training, behavior modification, and a wide array of other things. Welcome to the show, man. How y'all doing?
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, all right.
Um, I'm gonna start off by asking how long you been into dog training?
Um, Probably for about 6 years now, training for the public. But I've been dealing with dogs my whole life, probably since I was a kid. My first dog I started training, I was probably about 16. I got Ace probably about 6 years ago, and that's when I really started discovering my ability to work with dogs.
Okay, is that something you discovered on your own, or did you have any mentors that kind of mentored you into the dog training thing? Or
No, I wish I did. It's just me getting in front of a dog, and anytime I wanted to learn something, I just went to YouTube and then figured
okay,
it out like that.
okay, is it any particular channel on YouTube you was watching often to kind of
Um,
learn techniques from?
Michael Ellison, um, it's a few on there. They ain't coming to mind, but him for sure. He a guy, a top notch guy that I follow.
All right, speaking of that dog, Ace, that's that black and white dog, right?
Yes.
I think I ain't sure now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I seen a video of you at like a school
Yeah, that was
or
just
something.
that was just recently. He coached at
Oh,
the school. You know, he invited me up for a pet rally, and me and Ace went up there, showed out for the kids.
yeah, I was gonna ask what that was about. Yeah,
Hmm.
man, I take my hat off to you. Like anytime I see people going
Oh yeah,
out
we
doing positive things
that's what
like
we
that,
want to do.
man.
We're gonna get back for sure. Anytime I get a chance to go work with the kids, I always jump to that.
Yeah, that was cool. And I even seen how the floor was kind of slippery, but
And
he
he
was kind
still
of
worked. Look,
still he
everybody,
was
he
he
still
was
was
he
working.
was working though still. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
determined dog to get the job done for sure.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm gonna ask you. On one of your posts, it was a caption on there that said, love what you do and do it like you love it. Um, how important is that caption to you in dog training and outside of dog training?
um, so basically, if you love something, be passionate about it. And when somebody see you doing what you love, they should know that you love it. It should show in your work. So that's what I meant by love what you do and do it how you love it.
Right.
Do it like you love it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
read that caption, man. I liked that caption though
Hmm.
for sure, cause it's a lot of people out here. They just doing things for money,
Right.
and they ain't really doing it, cause they got
Yeah.
a
So
passion for it.
with dog training, you would never really get nowhere with just think about the money. Before I ever thought about a dollar, I was doing it because I just get my adrenaline going, waking up, seeing something, and then getting the goal completed with my dog. Being able to know that I could do it. It was never about the money. Even if I stopped training for the public today, I still have it in my heart to train dogs, wake up and get it done. It's fun to me. It ain't a job. When I get up, I ain't going to work. So being able to do that throughout my life has been a blessing. Just being able to get up and do something I love, make money off of it, and not make it feel like work.
Right. Um, if I were someone that wanted to use your services for one of my dogs, what is the onboarding process?
So after you contact me, of course, figure out how to contact me, which would be either because a lot of my people come word of mouth, so the DM, phone number. I like to get some feedback about what the dog is going through, what you got going on with the dog, how old the dog is. I want to do an evaluation, see what's going on, and then we'll pick the perfect program that best fits your dog's problem. They have all the solutions you need within that package. Um, then we'll do a deposit. I do contract. I want to make sure the dog's up to date on all vaccinations and stuff like that. And then I put more details in the contract. We go from there.
When you evaluating a dog for onboarding, like what are you looking for during that evaluation?
Um, it's not really Well, yeah, I'm basically looking at what the dog is going through when I'm evaluating the dog. Basically, like if the dog jumping a lot, is he pulling, is he barking, is he reactive? Just seeing what's going on with the dog because a lot of people they got dogs, but they don't even know what's the problem with the dog is. They just know he's not listening. You know what I mean? But they
Right.
don't know how to target the problem and what tools and what direction we need to go into. So I figured that out within the evaluation.
Okay. Um, what are some of the requirements, man, for someone that is going to do like a board and train with you? Because you do like board and train, right?
Yeah, board train. So let me explain the board train for the people that don't know. A board train is when a dog actually comes and stays with me for a period of time, and I teach the dog all the training stuff, and then after I get the ball rolling, I bring you in and show you all the commands and everything like that. Versus day school where the dog probably just come throughout the day. You get the dog throughout the evening, and we do it like that 5 days a week. Or I do one-on-one sessions where I come out, or we meet up somewhere. We do about an hour or whatever that may be. But as far as the board and train, it's the same process as us just booking with me. You get in contact with me. We go over what the dog need, and then you pick the amount of weeks the dog gonna stay. We go from there.
All right. My next question is: have you ever been bitten by a dog while training? And if so, what is the craziest story you could tell about getting bit by a dog while training?
I definitely been bit by dogs during training, but I really don't got no crazy stories. I do got a crazy story, but it wasn't during training.
Okay.
Shout out to my man Jordan. He got Borables, exotic Borables. I was dealing with him, me and Ace.
Oh, y'all just was on the phone with him yesterday.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy. So I was dealing with him. We had our dogs out. He got big 200-pound Borables. He got about 13 of them. He got mostly all females out and one male. And I got Ace out as well. But I told him, like, bro, it's gonna be a problem back here with all these females and your male and my male. So uh Ace ended up getting into it with all the dogs. I had to jump in. I got bit by one of the Borables right here. If you can see it. Still got the marks to show it. But yeah, I think that's one of the craziest moments I've had within the dog training. Now, don't get me wrong, I get bit in bite work, but the way I teach bite work, if I mess up, I want the dog to let me know. Be quick. Get up, get in and out. I want to see that intention as far as like that intent as far as making sure the dog is man focused and really trying to bite. So if I get bit, that's because I was too slow.
Right, right, right. Uh, I know you have trained various breeds of dogs. Um, Out of the many different breeds of dogs, which one would you say is the most stubborn or the most difficult to train?
Most ever. You can get crazy with the pits and it can get crazy with it's a few dogs. It can get crazy with the Maui's. It depends on what you talk about. It's all subjective. Talking about like impulsive wise, like a dog being able to control itself. It can get crazy with the pits and the Maui's. If you teaching like protection, you trying to get the dog to out and stuff like that. It get tough on that side with that. But as far as like pet training and stuff like that, I get a lot of King Corsos. I'm just kind of fed up with them because they some anxiety wrecks though. They just got a whole bunch of anxiety packed in. It'd be kind of crazy training them dogs. But when you get out of all the Corsos out of train, I'd probably had only about three good ones that was well off. So
You say the cane corsos they have a lot of anxiety
yeah.
built up in them.
So a lot of times what happens is people get the dog and they don't do nothing with the dog for a long period of time. And the dog, all that builds up, all that frustration build up, it creates an anxiety within the dog. So by the time the dog get to me, it's like you ain't did the proper stuff to make the dog have an outlet for those things. You know what I mean? So
What
it get kind
what
of
what kind of tips then can you give to cane corso owners or any other owners that's not doing things with their dogs and this anxiety building up?
uh
What kind of things can they do with their dogs out the
start
gate?
sooner. Start sooner. Me personally, I started teaching at 8 weeks. As soon as I get the dog, I start teaching. But get the dog moving, stimulate the dog, start building confidence. That's why I say training, is always key. Agility builds confidence. Just motivating them with food, things like that. A lot of people get dogs and don't do nothing with them. Just have a dog. You know what I mean? And just they're not giving the dog what it needs, and it turns into something else.
You just said agility build confidence. I saw that on one of your posts too,
Yeah.
but explain a little bit to people who might not understand that why agility would build confidence in the dog.
Uh, it's just reassuring the dog, introducing the dog to things and letting the dog know that you can do it. So sometimes jumping up on something might be a hurdle for a dog, but once we accomplish that, that takes this confidence from here to here. That's like when you shooting a shot. You coach basketball. When you shooting a shot, the more shots you take, the more confidence you become. You know what I mean? So if you don't put the dog through none of that, that's where we ain't getting nowhere with the confidence. You know what I mean? So it's good to just put your dog through obstacles. Whatever you can, expose them to basically.
All right, what are some of the mistakes you think dog owners make when they trying to train dogs themselves and maybe they don't have no professional
Okay, so
training
I just want
behind
to
them?
say dog training is you gotta have patience. You know what I mean? And it's all about me. I train using the reward based training, and then I also train using positive and negative reinforcement. So what's important is markers, that you mark everything on time. What I mean by that is, so when I say I train using a reward based training, so if I tell the dog to sit and he don't know what's going on, this is the first time I'm teaching him. The moment his butt touched the ground, I'm going to mark that moment in time that the dog did that with the treat, with something. You get, whether it's me rubbing the dog, so that way I train using clarity. I want the dog to be clear on what I'm asking the dog to do. You know what I mean? And once we get there, then once you mark that, then when you go back to that behavior and ask that behavior, the dog knows what to do. You know what I mean? Because you mark that moment in time. If I'm explaining that right.
Nah, yeah, I get it. Um, Kind of break down for the viewers watching what obedience training is, personal protection training, and behavior modification when it pertains to dogs.
Okay, I'm gonna start with obedience. So obedience training is basically just getting the dog to do a behavior on a drop of a dime when you ask them. Behavior modification training is basically taking the behavior within the dog and modifying it to your liking. So that's when I say I'm doing behavior modification. That's somebody calling me saying, "My dog pulling down the street. How can we stop this?" The dog's behavior of pulling down the street, we're gonna modify that to the person's liking, meaning, okay, we want the dog on right here on the side, let's get that done. You know what I mean? Personal protection training, that's when you have a dog that's willing to protect you by all means, you know what I mean? What goes into that is you want to get a good dog with good prey drive, good energy, good confidence. I train personal protection using from a baby using kind of a pyramid where I do arousal, pursue, and then I want the dog to be possessive over whatever they're chasing. You know what I mean? So I work off the prey drive with personal protection. Yeah.
Um, do you think that all dogs is cut out to do personal protection
No,
training?
no, no. It's like, so what I tell people is this: just because the dog got teeth and all that, everybody want to do. That's what everybody want to do. When people hit me up, because that's the fun part. Everybody want to go to the gun range. You feel what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's
Right.
like, but that's like saying everybody ain't LeBron James. Everybody not Floyd Mayweather. Everybody ain't built. Everybody not a fighter. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Right.
me personally, I wouldn't, if the dog don't want to do the job, I'm not gonna put my life in that dog's hand. I want the dog that want to do the job, that's dying to do the job. You know what I mean? So a lot of people got dogs you could teach personal protection too, but how reliable is that going to be in a real life situation? Is you banking on that? Is you banking on this dog protecting your life or saving his own ass? You get what I mean? So a lot of times I do personal protection work with people, but I'm getting to the point where I'm picking and choosing who I work with as far as personal protection, because everybody can't stand up to what the responsibility that come with that. You know what I mean? Like everybody can't have a gun. Everybody don't deserve a pistol because they don't know uh, whether it's misusing it or improperly using it. You know what I mean? it can be dangerous. You know what I mean? So
It's funny you just brought that up because I was gonna ask you that.
yeah, I seen that one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because
Yeah,
there's another guy who was saying something similar to what you just said. For as like he don't offer protection
and then
service
I want to
training.
speak on this. Just because you can teach the dog personal protection don't mean you should. A lot of times I base whether I'm gonna teach the dog personal protection on off the handler, how strong the handler is. You get what I mean? Because if you got a dog that can do the job, it's great. I get dogs, the people that got dogs that's probably better than mine, and if I teach them, they can be like that on the drop of a dime. But the handler can't handle that high level drive of dog. They not even that type of person. You got to be like, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't no being soft in this game of being a when you got a strong minded dog, a dominant dog or something like that, you can't like so a lot of women, I don't really you ain't gonna know what to do when this dog getting going like that. Cause once I train it like that, you gotta treat it like that. You know, you gotta take what comes with it. So just cause I can train personal protection don't mean I always do, you know,
Right.
when it comes to stuff like that.
So you done had people come to you and try to get protection
Yeah.
training and you turn them
Yeah, I
down.
turn them down. If I can't listen, so I look at this first because I teach obedience first when I'm doing when I'm teaching for the public. I always try to put some obedience on the dog first, you know. And I read you right then and there in that moment how much control you take over the dog during obedience. If you can't control the dog on that type of level, you ain't got nothing coming when it comes to the dog opening his mouth. Because that's a whole different type of drive we tapping into, you know what I mean, as far as that. So I pay attention to the handler, to the owner, how they deal with the dog with making corrections in the obedience process. And if I feel like you ain't a strong enough handler, you know, to do that, you ain't got nothing coming with this. So I won't even waste neither one of our time. You know what I mean? Because I could train the dog, but what you gonna do when the dog really start acting on that? You know what I mean? And people don't be ready for that. So I just, you know.
Why is it important to imprint obedience on the dog before you start them off into protection training?
Well, my dogs personally, I do the opposite. I always work obedience, but when I'm training my dog, I teach protection first because I know that I'm gonna be able to handle it. But a lot of times, when you really want a dog that's gonna bite, too much obedience could be a conflict in when you go in the protection route. If you want a drive dog in protection, sometimes you can water it down by doing too much obedience. You know what I mean? So with my dogs that I know the upbringing, where they going, where I want them to go in life, uh, I start off immediately getting them biting in that 8 weeks old. You know what I mean? I start them on a rag and stuff like that. I do lure and training just to make sure that they want to follow the hand and stuff like that. Because that's all obedience. You can't teach obedience. I don't know how people you can, but you ain't gonna get far. It's gonna be a low level of obedience from just using negative reinforcement and no positive reinforcement. That means just making corrections on the dog, having the dog have negative experience. You could do training like that, but you won't get a high level of training. How you see Ace come to my heel in between the legs, all that was taught using alluring training. Basically, when I get the dog to follow, that's how I start any dog with training when I get him as a pup.
Speaking on that lure training, what do you use to lure when you doing lure training?
So when it comes to what I use whatever has value. And I wanna talk about this too. So this real big in dog training. This is for everybody at home. When you doing dog training, when you training your dog, you have to have something of value. If you just started with your dog, I tell people all the time, food is the window. No matter what the dog is going through, food is always gonna be the window for you to make that breakthrough. If a dog is scared of anything, if dog's scared to come to you, scared to walk on the leash, scared to do anything, the moment that the dog is hungry, everything goes out the window. I can kind of get a dog to walk with me when I got food, and the dog don't even remember that he was scared of me because he's so focused on the food. So I'm gonna play off the natural drive that's built in the dog to survive. You know what I mean? All dogs got a natural drive to want to survive and want to live. So you want to play off of that. So what I mean is get something of value, and whether it's meat, it could be what we use, turkey dogs, something simple like that. You can use the dog food if your dog is hungry enough. See, a lot of people just like to put the bowl down. But I say this: if you go to work and somebody just gave you your check, you wouldn't do nothing in that mug. You wouldn't do nothing in there. So you go to
Right.
work and somebody just gave you your check. But the moment they tell you you ain't getting this until you do this, oh yeah, you're gonna be moving. So get something of value. Like it's hard to train a dog that's not engaged with you as well. So a lot of people want to let the dog try to train the dog off leash. No, start by training your dog on leash. So that way the dog is not over there, the dog is not over there, the dog is with you. You got something the dog needs. Now y'all can make that chemistry, as far as training, and you could teach them how to learn. Once you teach a dog how to learn, sky's the limit on what you could teach the dog. You know.
Yeah, man. I ain't no big dog trainer myself. I own a few dogs,
Hmm.
and shit. I'm learning a lot, man. Sitting here with you though, for real.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, for sure.
appreciate the input and the knowledge,
Yeah,
man.
for
You
sure.
sharing though, for real.
Yeah.
Um, let's go a little bit more into detail with behavior modification.
Hmm.
In your professional opinion, what are some of the reasons that cause a dog to be territorial?
Okay. Territorial. Okay. When dogs start becoming possessive over things, it can be from an insecurity or it could be from a dominant position. Um, like I told you about a dog having a natural built-in drive to want to survive, that can play a role in it as well, as far as like things like resource guarding. When the dog won't let you get close to the bowl or something, that's because the dog, this is what the dog needs to survive. So at that moment, he's doing whatever it takes to, whether he's scared you're gonna take it from him or whether he's just being dominant. You ain't taking it from him. He's showing aggression. And if you want to talk about why a dog is territorial over you, that's more so the dog looks at you as the resource. You know what I mean? So that problem come in as where the owner haven't established a high enough authority over the dog to the point where the dog is making his own decisions. That's why he's territorial, because he's looking at you as the resource and he's guarding that. So if you don't establish a high enough authority, you get them type of problems as far as being territorial and stuff like that. Yeah. And in a life where a dog makes his own decisions is bad. When a dog wake up and make his own decisions, it never go right. Whether it's a dog running out into the street, there you go. Whether a dog going out and biting somebody, up and he to the pound. So yeah.
What are some of the things that you do to correct a dog that got territorial behavior?
Um, Depends on what's causing it, what's triggering it. Determines which route I go at it. You know what I mean? Whether it's research garden, but me personally, everything that got to do with stuff like that, it always goes back to the handler establishing that authority or correcting the dog enough, making the dog have a negative experience. A lot of times when I get people that call me and for training, they going through stuff, and I got to go over there and do behavior modification. It'd be a lot of times they not doing anything to correct the dog. When the dog do it, they don't do anything. And it'd be simple as me going over there, making the dog have a negative experience right then and there every time. If a dog jumping on the couch, make it uncomfortable for the dog to jump on the couch. If a dog is comfortable doing anything, it's gonna continue to do it. But if you uncomfortable, the dog pulling, it's about to be real uncomfortable for you pulling down this street. I'm gonna make sure if you're gonna have a negative experience, you ain't gonna want to do that no more. So what I do is I get a dog the green, like this red, this green. If you over here in the red, it's always gonna be a negative. You're never gonna be comfortable. So the dog prefers. I let the dog be like, choose. You're gonna prefer to be over here, you know what I'm saying, on this green side. So that's how I do that, by making the dog have a negative experience, correcting the dog, whatever the case may be.
All right. If somebody called you and said, I got 2 or 3 dogs in the home, and they showing aggressive behavior between them,
Towards each other.
yeah, how would you go about fixing that?
Yeah, that too, that go back into the owner having some type of a high enough authority within the household. And if it's male on male, a lot of times I get dogs that be so dominant. You can't. It's just never gonna happen. I got dogs that I keep apart to this day.
Right.
Like that, I ain't gonna let them see each other because I know they're gonna fight. It's nothing that's gonna change that. People say, nah, nah, nothing's gonna change that. But if you got some dogs that's willing, if you got a situation that's like, okay, this dog doing this because he's just playing dominance, or this dog doing this because he's fearful. You know what I'm saying? Or the house too small. You keeping the dogs in the house too much. You know what I mean? They can't coexist together. Stuff like that. So you got to. It just depends. Nothing is absolute, and dog training is all subjective. So it just depends on what's the scenario. You know what I mean? As far as, but it's always on top. It's always gonna go back to correcting the dog. Just showing that it's it's lines of command, it's chains of command. As far as the household go. So basically, if my dog's fighting this dog, if I got a dominant dog in the house, I'm gonna make sure that dog knows that you got to go through me every time. You got to deal with me every time you do that. So if you want to deal with me every time you do that, don't do it. You know what I mean? You don't want to deal with me. You get what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of what you got to like establish if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? But it can vary.
Aggression in dogs sometimes could stem from a dog being fearful. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So you
Uh,
got different type of aggressions. You got food aggression. You got pain aggression. You got sex aggression, and I'm gonna explain. You got skip. It's a lot. You know what I'm saying? To go different categories. Pain aggression is a dog just biting because it's in pain. Sex aggression, a dog biting because another dog is in heat and they want to, or I don't know really what to call this. Or a dog can just be aggressive because you're stopping him from getting to where you come between him and his goal to go that way. So a lot of times you'll see when I'm doing personal protection work of a dog, when I'm first starting with a dog, it ain't that the dog really aggressive or want to bite the handler. It's because the handler is holding the leash and keeping the dog from getting where you need to go. So when the dog want to go that way, oh, you hold me, I'm gonna reach back and bite you. You know what I mean? So yeah, but that's true. Yeah, fear. A dog can be fear aggressive.
uh, is is it any techniques that you use? Training the dog that getting brought to you with aggression because of out of fear.
Yeah, we go back to confidence
Con-
building. And I'm a lot of times like reassure the dog that ain't nothing about to happen to you, like I said. And that's when I use my windows as far as using the food training to make that moment kind of disappear, to make them cope with it easier, by getting that bonding time during the time I'm feeding the dog. Because nothing is more important than food to the dog for real. Like I told you, they just thinking like I need to survive, for the most part. So when I get that moment where I can enjoy a time while the dog is eating a meal, I kind of make that breakthrough, of trust.
All right. How would you go about correcting a dog that is leash reactive and wants to lunge and snap at other dogs and maybe even at humans when somebody walking it?
So I'm gonna get the proper tool, proper leash, proper correction tool, so I can make my corrections, and I'm gonna just correct the dog every time it lunges. Sometimes when the dog is pulling, it's okay to just stop and let the dog know we ain't gonna go nowhere if you pull. You know what I mean? But not that's kind of like the easiest thing to teach is a dog for me.
Right.
Is a dog to stop pulling. You know what I mean? They got tools out now that can help easily stop that.
What are some tools that you would recommend, like a dog going
The
out and
prong
getting?
collar for one. A lot of people don't have them when they come to me, and then I put the prong collar on their dog, and that'd be halfway. That'd be 50% of the work. You know what I mean? If you ain't familiar with a prong collar, it's the one with the things that poke on the neck and put the pressure on the dog when it need to when the dog pull. But yeah, just popping the collar, stopping. You know, um, I teach dog. I ain't speak on this, but I also, when I first get a dog, I always teach a dog about how to turn pressure on and off. Meaning, like when I dogs learn from around the neck. So when I put that collar, that correction collar on you, and I apply pressure to your neck, that means you're doing something wrong. So how do you turn that off? I teach dogs how to turn it off. by giving me the behavior that I want. So it goes back to marking with the food. The pressure is kind of like the same type of training to a certain extent because when I put the pressure on you and your butt touch the ground, the pressure immediately turn off. So the dog know like when I feel the pressure of me doing something wrong, I'm gonna give the behavior, pressure comes off of me. So when the dog is walking down the street, pulling this way, I'm gonna put the pressure on him until he give me the behavior that I want. Once he give me the behavior I want, everything turns off. And that follows a dog throughout the whole training process. Turn the pressure on and off is gonna be a big thing in fight work and obedience. You know what I mean? Knowing how to turn pressure on and off. So if I down a dog, when I first down a dog, I'm trying to get a dog to lay down. I put the pressure on him in the downwards position. The moment the dog touched the ground flat, pressure comes off the dog. So he know, soon as I feel that pressure, let me go ahead and get it off of me. But if a dog don't know how to turn pressure on, it's gonna freak out. So you definitely want to teach dog about turn the pressure on and off.
Now, I want to ask you, I done seen people, where they get new puppies and stuff like that, and they put these leashes on them, and the dogs just get to going crazy and turning and spinning all around and doing all type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend for people to do, to avoid having to go through that?
Well, with puppies, you gonna go through that. With puppies, you gonna go through that because it's always I never seen a. I mean, you start young, but it's new. When you put that correction on a dog is gonna automatically start. I get dogs. Every puppy don't want to walk, but we go back into the same thing as far as luring. I'm gonna lure you to start walking, and before you know you walking, and you only know you walking, and then they be like, "I'm walking now." You get what I mean? So it's that simple. So all this stuff fall under the same category as far as getting different stuff done. It's just in different ways. So with that, I'll be luring the dog down the street just to get him to stop. And with that, uh, freaking out, that's freaking out when they turning that pressure on. Like I told you, so you got to teach them how to turn it off. They freaking out. They causing the pressure to turn on by freaking out. If you do what I ask, none of the pressure will happen. You won't feel none of this on your neck. You get what I mean? So you got to teach the dog how to turn the pressure off.
All right. I watched a video on YouTube where a guy walked up and he had shook both of the dog owner's hands. I guess they was trying to, let the dog know that the guy was cool or whatever. He had on like this muzzle or whatever to
Mm-hmm.
this dog, and he still showed aggressive behavior. Like he went in, he tried to actually attack the dude still, but he had the muzzle on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about correcting a dog that got aggression towards humans like that?
So that go back to the territorial thing. That go back to that as well too. But I'm gonna speak on this from a personal protection position. So that's like when me and Meech doing training work with Ace, and he done bit Meech a few times. Meech walk up, he still want to bite. That's a big thing when you teach an impulsive training. So meaning like when I say leave it, Michi can do anything to the dog. If you follow my videos, you probably seen this. Michi can agitate the dog. He can hit the dog. He can pretty much do anything. But the dog has impulsive training, so he's not just gonna lash out. So if he was, when I'm teaching something like that, when I'm teaching a dog to stop doing that, I'm just sitting there every time he do it, making my corrections, popping him with the collar or hitting him with the e-collar. And like I told you, that's a negative experience. It's not fun to lash if my neck. It's not fun to do it if I'm being corrected. You know what I mean? So the moment the dog give me the behavior that I want. This is in protection, not in regular. I mean, on a regular dog, this is in the protection world. If I'm right there correcting my dog and he give me the behavior, the moment he give me the behavior to not bite, I'll reward him with a bite. Meaning like he came up, I was able to shake his hand, you remain calm. Now I'm gonna send a dog. You get what I mean? And then he know I only bite when I'm sent. You know what I mean? So that's coming from a personal protection training position right there.
Basic obedience for dogs are behaviors such as sit, down, stay, leave, and come. Uh, can you give, maybe new dog owners some tips on how to train these dog basics?
Uh, we go lure training, food. It's always gonna be food. Food is always gonna be the way. That's the simplest way for a pet trainer. Like the typical pet owner don't need a lot of the work that I do. They just need the simple stuff. And you can really have a nice trained dog if you follow the luring steps, the marking as far as when to pay out, and the corrections. You know what I mean? So teach and sit, use luring, using pressure, and if you want to stop behaviors, using the corrections. You know what I mean? They help.
Um, do you do any kind of like protection work competitions or things like that? Or you
I
are you
haven't.
thinking
I plan
about
on.
getting
I'm.
into it?
I'm. I'm. I want to compete this year with one of my new Mallies I got, my new Malinois I got. We ain't there yet. It's work to be done. I should have been title ace. I'll be so busy training for the public. I don't have a chance to really go out, but I'm getting more into that. We in a process right now on opening facility and stuff like that. So I'll have more trainers under me, and I can kind of go do stuff like that. I have time to go do that.
You gonna open the facility? It's gonna be here in Cleveland.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be. We looking at something downtown. What is it, Carnegie? Carnegie. We looking at a building over there right now, but by the end of 2024, I have a big facility. Where people could come in. We work out of there.
Um, you- the competition aspect of it. Uh, is it like a certain uh league or because like
It's a lot.
I don't
It's a
know
lot.
I'm
It's a lot.
unfamiliar with it.
You got a lot. You got APPDDA. You got Shutson. It's a lot of different categories as far as like what you can get into. They all got different rules and stuff like that. As far as like what your dog need to know to get into the competition, or at least to get title to pass it.
That's Shetson. I don't know if I'm saying it
Yeah,
right, but I didn't
Shutson.
heard that term
Shutson.
before.
Yeah.
What is what is that?
It's different from doing civil work. It's basically like the type of training. Like a dog going in front of a person behind a blind and just barking without just, it ain't suit work. It ain't a full body suit. It's just kind of a wedge. It's different type of ways that the dog is being exposed to the decoy.
Oh, okay. Um, my next question I want to ask, like, say if you got somebody who you know you bringing on to your team, and you training him to be a decoy or whatever for bite work or whatever. Uh, what is this something you gotta be looking for in that particular person to do that kind of work, or
Then he That's a good question because I started him like that. He didn't know anything when he met me. I taught him everything. How he a good decoy now. So I just look for you to want to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you look at somebody when you're a coach looking at somebody, a player. You know what I'm saying? You looking for somebody who listening, who listening to you for sure, and then applying it to the training. You know, uh, yeah, you gotta have go when you a decoy. Decoying ain't for the weak. Let me tell you that. It's not for the weak. Especially listen, let me tell you. And then in the summertime, you're gonna be throwing up. You're gonna be throwing up. So you gotta think about it. The suit. The suit alone is probably like, how much you think the suit weigh? Yeah, about 80 to 100 pounds for the suit.
wow.
Then you got a dog on you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's 90 degrees outside, and it hurt. It ain't for the weak. You know what I'm saying? So I look for a strong minded person, that want to do that. That's gonna be passionate about it. Like that I ain't gotta be all right. You getting in the suit today, you Drake getting in the suit, they like, I'm ready to get in the suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, man, how if you if you can like clip that mic off real quick and just hand it to him. I want to
Okay.
ask him. I want to ask him. I want to hear his thoughts on this real quick.
Yeah, because he can explain better than I can as far as like, you know, start from the beginning and just get the feel for the first bite and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I wanna hear what he got to say on this, man. 'Cause, I mean, that take a lot of courage to
Oh
be
yeah.
doing that, man.
And then a lot of people be like, yeah, a lot of people like, nah, how did you get in that suit? Like, you crazy.
All right. What what was the experience like for you? You know, the first time suiting up and actually having that dog come charging at you full speed, you know, ready to bite.
All
What?
right. Well, it wasn't really like that at first, though, man. It was, man. We didn't even have a suit, man. And
Yeah.
bruh, man.
He
And you know, like,
probably had a sleeve
like, I didn't know nothing about dogs, like he said, man. And like, you know, this is my brother. You know, I'm married to a sister.
Yeah,
Right.
So, you know, and when I first met him, man, you know, we've been met, but when I first like really came around, you know what I mean? Because I was like, I wasn't really social. So I really came around and I knew he trained dogs. And then, you know, he's like, man, y'all got him out in the garage right now. And
Right.
I was like, let me see. And when I went outside and he was showing me shit, I'm like, damn, man, you really know how to do this shit? I ain't never seen, you know, nobody do this before. And it was like damn, damn it, like you were like, you know, you only see this shit on TV though, for you know what I mean? You don't ever see like,
Right.
a young, person, doing stuff like this though. And it was like shocking. And I was like, and it was crazy. And I was like, man, you got anybody help you? And he was like, oh, I do this shit by myself. And he had like 6 kennels in there. All of them had dogs in there. And I'm like, he said, yeah, I'm training all of them. And I'm like, man. He said, man, if you really want it, he said, man, shit, 7 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah. And I pulled up at 7 o'clock the next day. And it's been ongoing ever since. But we didn't start with a suit, man. He had a sleeve, man, with no gullet, man. And no gullet, man. And he was like, man, shit, you really? He's like, come on, we about to go to the field. And we went to the field, I put the thing on, and he was like, man, you gonna feel something though, but it ain't gonna be like he like actually on you. And I'm like, all right. So when he sent, it's actually on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, but his page, Instagram, but it's probably all like close to the bottom. But man, he bit me. And I like, wait, jump. You feel me? Because I feel like you feel the pressure. You feel the pressure. You feel the pressure. Because when he did it, he had Ace right in front of me. And he was like right before my side. He was holding my shoulder. He's like, all right, now put your arm out. He was holding my arm. He said, he told him Ace, the command word. Bah, he hit me. And I was like, damn. Shit, you feel the pressure, then you feel a pinch. And it's a mad pinch, man. That pinch is and I'm gonna be honest though, man. Like I kind of like fell in love with it, man. And it was like, and then actually after I kept going, he kept teaching me, and I'm starting to see, and I'm starting doing my own like homework, going home watching YouTube, doing different things, and everything that's on YouTube is coming to play with him. Yeah. From teaching me, and I'm like, damn, and everything.
Well, if you feel like I'm teaching you wrong, go look it up. I promise you're gonna fall in line. Like everything's gonna fall in line.
Right.
Yeah. One thing they probably can't hear me, but one thing I want to say about decoying is it's an art. It ain't just like it's a combat type of thing. It ain't just like you let the dog bite you.
Like you gotta
think that. No, a real decoy is reading the dog.
You gotta know what he needs at that moment.
The job is for a decoy is to give the handler what the handler needs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
For his dog, we're trying to train his dog. So whether it's putting a lot of pressure on the dog, like when the dog
hold on 1 month.
Okay.
Get him the mic back real quick. Cause I don't want people to miss no valuable information.
This is important though. So yeah, well, like I was saying, decoying it's an art. It's not just a dog biting on you. It's kind of like as a decoy, you need to be able to get a handler what they need for that for their dog. You know what I mean? So when you're doing decoy work, like I said, it's just not about the dog biting you. It's about you being able to put pressure on the dog. Teaching the, like I told you, we gonna go, that pressure gonna follow you all the way through into personal protection work. When you put pressure on the dog, teaching the dog how to turn it off, how to counter. Meaning, like if I grab the dog foot, I don't want the dog to let go the bite. The dog need to be able to stay on the bite regardless of what's going on. Like, if I'm pinching the dog, if the dog's feet leave the ground, the dog need to be able to stay on. It's the decoy's job to read the dog, to know, oh, he's about to let go. What do I need to do? What do I do now to keep this dog engaged with me? You know what I mean? That's not on the handler. That's not on the person that's telling the dog to bite. I'm just telling the dog to bite. I need the decoy to be the one to keep my dog and train my dog and teach my dog. You know what I mean? So when the dog bite me like this and he's slipping, what do you do, decoy? The dog's slipping. I step into the dog, let the dog get some more of me. And when he do, make sure that that I express that with a marker, meaning like I'm gonna get a dog a reaction. So when I'm teaching dogs how to counter and stuff like that, how to re-bite and re-grip and stuff like that, when the dog's biting me, say the dog bite me like this, and he's getting real frustrated, I'm just sitting here. The moment the dog pushes into me and get more of me, I start to react, whether it's making a noise or making a movement that's gonna stimulate the dog and that's gonna be gratifying to the dog, as far as him feeling like he's doing something, like I'm prey. We go back into that. So me just sitting still at moments, that get a clarity of when he's sitting still, if I want to get a reaction out of him, get more of him. So that teaches the dog push, push, and once I start reacting when the dog do that, he's going to do that behavior more. You know what I mean? Or when I grab the dog's foot, that means bite. The answer to the question is get more of me. When I touch your foot, get more of me. And when you do that, I'm gonna let you go. So that way, anything I start to do to the dog, whether I pick up something and hit the dog with it, that's gonna make the dog go harder, not let go. So it's the decoy's job to teach the dog all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Whether it's, and a lot of times, I might be talking about too much, but we when you teaching bite work, you see a lot of dogs that want to play tug of war. They want to naturally, dogs want to pull. When I'm teaching bite work, I want you to do the opposite. I want you to push towards the man. Don't try to grab me and pull with me. I want you to bite, push into your man. You know what I mean? So it's ways to teach that, to get a dog to stop trying to pull away and play tug, to start to push forward. So that's the decoy's job too, as well. But you got to know how to read the dog. You know what I mean? You got to know how the dog, and they all different. You know what I mean? You'll get some dogs that's coming out the gate biting anything and not letting go at all. But you get some dogs who bite you, but as soon as you put your hand on them or you yell in their ear, they let go. That's a conflict. If you teaching the dog personal protection, in the moment somebody say, your dog let go, it's not good. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. You done risked your life, and I'm able to get to you, kill you, do whatever I want to do because your dog wasn't trained, desensitized to those type of things. So big on desensitizing. If you're gonna go the personal protection route, pick the right puppy, do your work on the puppy, make sure you're doing everything right in the upbringing. As soon as I get puppies, whether if I'm not keeping them, if I know they're going to personal protection homes, I'm gonna start them puppies at 8 weeks on desensitizing them on noise, being touched. Tell them how to pick a puppy. Oh yeah, basically, if you go somewhere, just run the pup through a few tests, like as far as like noise, desensitizing it to noise, see how the dog act when it's around a lot of noise. You start clapping your hands. I pick the puppies up, pinch them a little bit, shake them, see if they cry. I grab the feet. I take them into new environments because the dog gonna act different when they walk through that doorway. That's called a threshold. So how a dog walk into a room determines how confident a dog is. So when I get puppies, I introduce them to all this type of stuff. Take them into new rooms. If the dog stop at that doorway, that's probably not a confident dog. But like I said, nothing is absolute. Nothing is guaranteed in dog training. I get dogs who'll be good at the beginning, and then they don't be as good as this dog. I get some dogs who'll be bad at the beginning, and then turn into a monster. So it's all, it ain't absolute. It all depends. You know what I mean? But that's ways that you want to test a puppy. If you're going to buy a puppy for personal protection, that's some of the stuff you want to look at, because that's going to be a conflict. You always want to look towards the goal you're working towards. So you don't want to run into these problems. I want a dog that's not fearful of the broom dropping. You get what I mean? Not fearful of somebody running over, the presence of noise. You know what I mean? Heights, being picked up. Like I said, when the dog biting you, if I got to go like this, I need you to still be on me. When I take you off the ground, I don't need you to let go. So stuff like that. But yeah, be sure to look for them things if you're picking a pup. And just make sure the upbringing is in line with your goal.
Back to the decoy thing though. A decoy is just as important as the handler, basically.
More.
If not, I was gonna say it sound like if not more.
In that situation, you know what I mean? If we talking about correcting the dog for impulsive, then that falls back on the handler. You got to be able to stop your dog from biting, you know. But it's on the decoy to teach that dog everything he needs to know as far as countering and how to deal with the man. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you probably then came across people who wanted to do decoy work and they
One
just
cut out
wasn't cut out for
one
it.
cut out for it. Man. People come one day, don't come back the next. You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
They well, you got people like that, you know, and you talk to them. What is it? Is it the biting? They fearful of the biting.
Yeah, like really, like think about it. People ain't built like me or like him. When you look at that dog actually mouth opening and coming at you, you really don't, you know, you can't, like I said, you got to be able to train and teach. If you in a fearful moment when you just worry about the dog biting, you ain't even gonna be able to read the dog. And when you doing really good decoying, you feel the pain. If you're not doing it right, you're not gonna feel the pain. You get what I mean? When you letting that dog counter and get in like it's supposed to, you gonna feel that. If you ain't doing it right, you cheating. You get what I mean? You gotta feel that pain. Because we wanted to be more, no, for real, we wanted to be realistic. We wanted to be realistic to the point where it's like your body give off pheromones and stuff like that. So when we talk about the science of a dog, they pick up on all that. They pick up on the suit. They pick up on all that. So when you getting bit by a dog and the dog actually getting you, I want your reactions to be damn near real.
Yeah.
Like you felt that. I don't want you to. You can fake it. You know, a lot of people do that, but I prefer when the dog is actually getting a piece of you and them screams you getting is real, kind of, because your body give off certain pheromones that the dog pick up to make them think like, oh yeah, I'm that. And protection when you teaching it from the beginning, it's all about the dog winning. It's all about the dog winning. When I'm building the dog up, I'm letting the dog win a lot to build that confidence of the dog thinking he unstoppable. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to let the dog win and let the dog get that gratification of doing the job. You know what I mean?
Right. When the whole decoy thing, like, you know, I see, like, you know, even like the sleeve work, if you just got on the sleeve and the dog come and they bite the sleeve, is this something that you do to like train these dogs to only go after a certain point? You know, as far as like if you let the dog go, why they don't just go after this arm without
That's
the
the most common question I get, bro.
Yeah.
About that. Like, dude just asked me, like, why that dog ain't biting your face? It's right there. Like, it's targeting. So we teach targeting, meaning like, I want you to bite a certain place on this person. And a lot of times when you see people doing decoy work, that's because the dog is doing that because the dog is equipment fixated. You know, meaning like the dog's fixated on equipment and not so much on the person. And you got to be careful with that too, with teaching personal protection. And if it's not done right, if the dog don't see no suit nor sleeve, you ain't gonna get that reaction out of the dog. The dog is kind of associating that equipment with the whole training scenario.
So somebody breaking your house.
Yeah, if they don't see that, yeah. So you want to train, you want to make sure the dog is man focused. That's why I say it's a lot to go into that. But as far as what you just asked, that's we teach targeting, meaning like if I want to put the dog on a bicep, I'll back tie the dog. You know what I mean? You probably see a lot of times I got dogs on agitation tables for things like that, and they probably got blinds on the side to keep the dog coming forward. And then I just make the part available on my body that I want the dog to know. I mean, I want the dog to bite. So if I want the dog to bite here, I'm going to offer right here. I'm going to put everything else behind me and offer the part where I want the dog to bite. A lot of times I see in personal protection, you always going to get the ones that want to be hand biters. They go for the hands because the hands is what touches the dog. So when you teaching that, a lot of times they go straight for the hands. You know, you want them to bite here, but they keep going down here. So how I stop that? I put that behind me, offer this. Or the moment the dog go for my hand, the handler choke the dog off and take him. You won't get nothing. You get what I mean? Or take the dog off and place him where you want him. Then he kind of learn like he's pulling me off when I'm down here, but I can stay on right here, and it kind of teach the dog to go for here. And they also got tools as far as like stuff you can order to keep the dog to put on your suit to keep the dog from down here. Like if you get like it's kind of plastic, it go around the forearm. So when the dog go down to bite there, it's plastic. So you can't bite here, you can't bite here. Boom. You get what I mean? And the dog go up and get the area that you want. And that's kind of how you teach that targeting. So he know like not to go for the face. It's like rules in the game. You know, don't play dirty, my boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all it is.
All right. Let me see. When you are giving a dog assessment for protection training, what are some of the things you're looking for?
Intent. I'm looking for the intent to do it. Like I said, nothing is absolute. I get some dogs the first day, might be a little shaky. The next day, catching on. You know, it's all about what is the dog gonna do. Like it's okay for a dog not to be doing everything correct the first day on the personal protection. I want to just be able to see how long it's gonna take to get the dog to do it, and how fast from that moment the dog pick up and start making progress from actually understanding that clarity. You know what I mean on what on the job. So yeah.
Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, but I'm also gonna have you give him the mic because I
Okay.
want to ask him the same question too. Out of the many breeds that you have done bite work with, which breed, in your opinion, has the strongest bite? In your opinion, of the dogs that can, get you?
XLs. I took a bite from an XL. My guy, Top Notch Kennels, he had a dog. What's his dog name? What is his dog name? Boy, that boy, Simba. Simba. That dog bit the shit up. Boy, then it broke my elbow. Like, it's some dogs that got bite pressure that you really be like, my arm about to break. This ain't no, when you train the right, you training them dogs the right way, the bite pressure be serious. Like, when you get to a high level of personal protection, like Ace, no gut, with no nothing on, with a regular suit on, you ain't letting him bite you with just no, with a suit on, with nothing up under it, with no protection, no gullets. He gonna tear you up. You gonna have your veins and everything. You gonna have bit pinch nerves and all type of stuff. But to answer your question, the XL and I gotta go back to my guy Jordan, the Burble breed. You know, I haven't took a bite from that dog in the suit, but I could just imagine. I took one from it with a wedge, uh, and I could just imagine if it was to bite you in the suit, what it could do. Because a lot of times it ain't about the teeth; it's about the pressure of the mouth biting down on you. Like that's what you feel more than anything. Like pressure.
Yeah, I was watching this trainer dude, and they was explaining that, like, that's what they was doing. They was like rating the gauging of the bite
But
pressure.
they say that I think the record is held by a shepherd.
A German Shepherd.
Yeah, I think that German Shepherd hold the record for the strongest bite. Yeah. Them shepherds, boys, get real with them shepherds. Get real with the right ones. With the right ones. With the right ones.
um, what's your favorite breed to train in protection work? If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, man, the pit is like uh I can't go against that because I've been most successful with that. But I can say like the Mauis will come up after that. The Mauis, you know, it depends on what you're looking for though. Depending on the job, should I say that? Like this one is better at this job. If you want more control, we probably gonna go the Maui route because they're a little bit better on the impulse of stuff. But a lot of people say stuff bad about Pitts, but Ace is he so controlled. You know, I can't even back that because my pit is so controlled. You know, I can put Ace at the end of the street, say leave it. You can't agitate him for nothing to bite you unless I tell him. You know what I mean? So it's subjective.
Yeah, I was watching this show, and there was like a American pit bull breeder, like a game dog type
I love them
dude,
dogs.
and he was on there saying, like, more or less, like, the dude was asking him, like, do you think that your dog should be used for protection work? And he was kind of saying, like, nah, I don't really think they should be used for that and
Yeah, I
whoopie whoop
mean,
and all of this.
I mean, if you feel that's him saying I'm not confident enough to handle that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? That's him saying I wouldn't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody you got some handlers who stand on, you got to know how to deal with the dog. But some dogs ain't. Man, some dogs just gonna go. They're just gonna lose their mind.
That's
You
why
get what I
that
mean?
should be basically left up to professionals.
Yeah, for sure. If you ain't the professional, right, you find you somebody who know what they're doing with these dogs. Like I told you, you wanted to be a liability and not. I mean, you wanted to be an asset and not a liability. You wanted to be. You don't want to go outside and I ain't tell you to bite him. Why you just do that? Like now, I'm more. We don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So definitely go find a professional or somebody can get hurt. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Because once you train the dog, once I teach this dog this, it's gonna act like it's the shit. It's going. Because the goal, like I told you, the goal is to make the dog win throughout and make it. We building this dog up. So it's gonna act. If the trainer right, yeah, the dog gonna act different. It's gonna act more confident. It's gonna feel like I got a job to do. It's gonna check in on these type of things. So don't be play wrestling with your friends in front of the dog. Don't. It's certain things not to do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say it like this: 50% of the people who ask me about personal protection don't need it. Don't even know because they don't live that. You don't wake up every day in that dominant state of I'm really over this dog. Like Ace, I got full control of Ace. I don't. It ain't one moment in time in any situation I'd be like, oh, I can't handle him. You get what I mean? In any drive, and that's where the handler need to be at to have a personal protection dog.
How old is Ace?
Ace 6.
6 years old.
Mhm.
Where did you get him from?
I paid $75 for Ace. Guy was just walking down the street. I seen him. Something clicked in my head. My girl was like, "Yeah, go and get him." And I just got him, and then from that moment, I started training him. He just had everything as far as like, see, a lot of people mistake the excitement and the jumping around and all that stuff for a bad dog. That's the stuff you want to play off of. When your dog got all that energy and they want to hop and they want to do all that, that's the dog you want. That's the dog that if you teach him, you could direct that energy to these things. I prefer to have them crazy dogs over a dog that's nonchalant. That I gotta pull the energy, like I gotta get this dog to get up. It ain't enthusiastic about nothing. Like the other dogs that want to run around and jump, them the dogs that you be like, okay, this gonna work with this. Always, all the dogs that be having all that energy, them the dogs that be the like, oh, I could compete with this dog if I wanted to, because it has the motivation, has the drive to do the work. You know what I mean? Like I said, once you teach them how to learn, what you teach them after that is the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? Well, yeah.
All right. In one of your videos on YouTube, it was an XL bully on there. I think it was. No, it was another dog, I think. But you was doing like box training. Explain what that is to the viewers who may not be familiar with that form of
So
training.
box training is like, and box training is more like, it ain't really pet training, but you could do it as a pet owner to get your dog to sharpen up on certain things. So box training, I use it for obedience. So if I want to sharpen my dog up on as far as like the movements and the positioning, the box keeps the dog in the box. So if I want my dog to go from a sit, from a down to a stand, without stepping forward, stepping to the side or anything like that, the box teaches him to do it all in one place. So he learns how to do it while the box is there. That way, when he's out the box, he know how to do it as well. So that keeps the dog. I like my dogs to down a certain way. I don't want you to lay on your side. I want you to lay this way. I want you to lay flat. That keeps him from being able to go over this way, go over this way. It teaches him the muscle memory of going up, coming back right back down to that position. Sit. All this type of stuff is competition stuff. You want your dog sharp, go the box way. And it's after the obedience. Put your dog in the box. It teach them how to line up as far as when you tell your dog come, where to be at, in the middle of your legs, stuff like that. Or if you tell your dog to heel, you can put the box beside of you. That way you can get the dog to come to the heel position and down, sit within that range of being that close to you. So it's a sharpening tool as far as positioning and movement and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. That might sound silly, but I had never seen the boxing.
Yeah, box
that
training
question really
super
was for me
important.
too.
Yeah, super
I was
important.
wondering, like,
Yeah.
what it do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are some of the things y'all got in the making for 2024, and where y'all trying to take y'all program and training to?
So me, I'm more so working it with high end clients, trying to work with high end clients on the security level. I'm gonna have Meech in charge of doing a lot of pet training. I want to get the facility going. I'm gonna also be doing day school. We're gonna have a school bus where we pick up I mean, not the kids, pick up the dogs, the puppies, the kids, pick them up. So I just want to get everything in play, and we working on it right now. Taking some time, but that's where I want to be at as far as 2024. By the end of 2024, I want to be up and running. I'm thinking grand opening probably gonna be sometime within June, July this summer, so you can come out,
Most
stuff like
definitely
that.
gonna come out. Yeah.
Yeah, just want to be further than we is today.
Um, where can people reach you? Like
Uh,
what's your Instagram?
Man's Best K9 for me. Man's Best K9 Meech. If you want to reach out to him, my phone number 216-385 8134. If you want to call me direct, you can text me or you can DM me. I'm on TikTok, Man's Best K9 as well. I'm on Facebook, Man's Best K9 as well.
Um, what are some of your basic pricing? If you could tell any of your
The
basic pricing.
cheapest, I'm gonna just start at the lowest, just to get some basic work. As far as just session wise, it's $250 a week. That's
Okay.
for 5 days, and I come out to your dog each day and work with your dog for them 5 days. That's $250 a week. Now we get into board and train. The minimum is like 800 for 2 weeks. If you want to do a 6 week, you'd be looking more like the 1200 to 1400, something like that. Then the prices now. I want to repeat it to everybody. Then the prices now while I'm not in the building.
So
After that, I'm gonna have expenses and stuff like
right.
stuff like that. So the prices probably go up. But either way it go, I done looked at the prices of everybody around me, and I'm affordable.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right. I would like to, while we here right now on camera, maybe I want to come out maybe one day when time is allowed for you, and you don't mind me coming out, actually filming you all
Oh yeah, for sure.
doing some work and
Yeah,
things like that.
for sure. We can come out anytime. We can set it up for this week on a nice day or something. You can come out. I got some fresh dogs. That way I can show you how I start from a puppy and where we at with it as far as like intense, high level stuff, jumping over gates, blinds, and whatever you want to talk about. We
We'll
do
keep
scent
it
work.
real. I ain't putting no suits.
Nah, you good.
I'm just messing with you.
I wouldn't even recommend you for no suits. Keep it real with you.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you though, man. But
Nah,
yeah,
for sure.
I want to come out doing, maybe, get some footage of y'all working and,
Yeah.
put it out here though. I'm most definitely gonna come out to your facility when it get open, and anything I could do to, push what you got going on and get it out there more to the public, I'm all with it, man.
Okay, we rocking, man. I appreciate you having us for sure.
All right. Allied Bullies TV, and we out of here like
Let's go.
yesterday.
This episode of Allied Bullies TV is being brought to you by K9 Super Supplements Puppy Formula. This awesome supplement contains green tripe, goat's milk, biotin, along with 6 other ingredients to promote growth and development, support immunity, digestive health, bone health, and also skin and coat health. Head on over to K9supersupplements.com today and grab yours.